Turn up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. Cause we've done this before, so you come on in. Make yourself at my home, tell me where you been. Pour yourself something cold, baby, cheers to this. Sometimes you gotta stay in.
He turns into an animal. When he starts to scramble in the fourth quarter, he just turns it on to win the game. And whatever needs to be done in the fourth quarter, he's going to always give you that chance to win the game.
Baby, take control now. We can't even slow
7:19 on TSN 690. It is Weekend Game Plan. I'm your host, Matthew Ross. That was Nick Lewis yesterday on the Montreal Forum on TSN 690, commenting on the Alouettes acquiring Darian Durant from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He's pumped about it. He's excited about it. A lot of people are very excited about the 34-year-old coming in here as the new quarterback of the Montreal Alouettes. A little controversy yesterday, by the way, on Twitter. I don't know if you saw this. Herb Zurkowsky of the Montreal Gazette tweeting that Jacques Chapdelaine called Vernon Adams Jr. to let him know that Durant was the starter. And Vernon Adams Jr. actually replying on Twitter saying, "That's news to me." And he tags his girlfriend saying, "Do you remember hearing that on speakerphone? I don't." So that's kind of funny. Zurkowsky never really on the wrong side of these types of things. So kind of interesting. But here's my take on the trade. Everyone's very excited about it. A multiple-time Grey Cup winner coming in to be the quarterback of the Montreal Alouettes. He's not even signed, by the way, which is kind of funny, right? I mean, everyone's talking about how they've acquired a quarterback. They've acquired his rights. He hasn't signed yet. No matter how confident the general manager is, he's not a Montreal Alouette just yet. So, kind of a bit of an awkward situation. Darian Durant, to me, is a 34-year-old injury-prone quarterback with a just above 500 career record in the CFL. He's not Anthony Calvillo. He's not a perennial powerhouse. He's a guy who's had a few great seasons, but he's now looking like he's on the downside with these injuries. And furthermore, are the Alouettes really in a position to contend for a Grey Cup right now with this roster? We've seen the last couple of years people have overestimated this roster. We've all looked at the roster and said, hey, the great defense, some good pieces on the offense, but it hasn't worked out year after year the last couple of years. So why all of a sudden are we a contender with a new quarterback? I don't buy it. I don't think so. New scheme coming in now with a brand new head coach, new personnel in the front office. I think it's you should be looking at the future and trying to put a new stamp on things instead of bringing in somebody who's going to almost maintain status quo and just add a little bit of leadership. So my take was, how about the guy who had a hell of a career in college football, who's had a pretty good start to his CFL career, who's done nothing but be a model citizen on and off the field for the Montreal Alouettes and embrace the culture here, and he's a guy who seems to be full of love, Vernon Adams Jr., why not give a guy who's 2-1 as a CFL starter and a legit opportunity here to come into training camp and be the guy right away and grow with him? He makes some mistakes, fine. But one of the things you're seeing, particularly on the attendance side of things with the Montreal Alouettes, is a lack of excitement about the team. So if you're going to bring in a 34-year-old injury-prone quarterback who's basically status quo and somebody who represents the past and I guess not much of a change. We had Kevin Glenn here last year, right? Is Durant going to be that much better than Kevin Glenn? Yeah, he's known as more of a scrambler than Kevin Glenn. Yes, he's got some hardware. There's no question about it. But Vernon Adams Jr. seems like the real deal. He seems like somebody who's got a future in this league and maybe not for long in terms of playing in the NFL at some point. So why not give him the opportunity and grow with him and let him make his mistakes and get the show going already? Because Durant's not going to be the quarterback 5 years from now. I'm not a huge fan of the trade. I think it's just going to delay Vernon Adams Jr. Now, the one thing here that we see is this kind of moves Rakeem Cato off the page, right? We've heard some of the experts weighing in saying it'll help to groom Adams Jr. more so than Cato. I agree with that. I think that Rakeem Cato's got a tremendously accurate arm. I think that we saw the outbursts in practice and the moods and all that kind of stuff. That's not good as your leader of a team. Not a fan of that. Also, very slender guy who I just don't know if he's going to stand up to the rigors of a full schedule in the CFL. We've seen the injuries. So I really like Vernon Adams Jr., really disappointed that he's not going to be the starter this year, because when you bring in a Darian Durant, he's not coming in to be the backup quarterback. He's coming in to be the starting quarterback, especially since he's not signed yet. So one of the things you're going to have in that negotiation is, hey, Darian, yes, you're the starter here. Sign it. Don't make us look foolish, because can you imagine if Durant says, well, I'm not sure that I'm going to be the starter here. I'm not signing just yet. I'm going to hold out. That would be disastrous. The Alouettes need to sell tickets. They need to create excitement about a new regime here. And the last thing they need is a quarterback controversy. Dave, you're on the other side here. You love this signing or this trade.
I do, because, listen, during the offseason, we had talked about it. What's the best case scenario for the Montreal Alouettes at quarterback? And I had said Darian Durant. And it didn't look likely that he would ever leave Saskatchewan. But here he is. This guy's a great...
You make a call to have this come through? Did you make this happen,
you
Dave?
Never know. You don't know who I know. You don't know who's in my Rolodex, you know? No, but in all seriousness, I mean, he's only 34. He is injury prone, but in 2013, 2014, he went something like 21-9. He started the 2014 season 10-0, I believe, before he had that elbow injury.
Exactly.
But, I mean, we talked to Rod Peterson, who's the voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and he said he's not very injury prone. He just happened to have these bad injuries at a bad time, but that's it. And I think that he can come in and mentor. You're seeing this as he's going to be a roadblock to Vernon Adams Jr. And Kavis Reed said it yesterday. He's going to be a good guy in the room, and he's going to be a good mentor for someone like Vernon Adams Jr.
You're getting a franchise legend in Montreal. You're getting our version of Anthony Calvillo, for one. I think he's ready to go, and I think that Darian Durant makes the Alouettes right now an immediate contender in the East Division.
An immediate contender. And
there's Peterson from Saskatchewan.
Yeah, that was Rod Peterson yesterday. And I am excited for this. I think he played on in back of a terrible offensive line in Saskatchewan. And I think if Kavis Reed can shore up the offensive line here in Montreal, I think that Darian Durant can, definitely. The Alouettes are not only a playoff team, but contenders in the East.
We got a text coming in, 1169, if you want to text us here during the show, from an anonymous person. Come on, sign your name, guy. I agree with your assessment of the Durant rights acquisition. I see him as a mentor to help ease Vernon Adams into the quarterback position full time. But again, he's not coming in to be a mentor from the sidelines. He's coming in to be the starting quarterback. So, I don't know. Wasn't Glenn the mentor last year for Vernon Adams Jr.? I don't know. How many years of mentorship do we need here?
The thing is that the Alouettes they can't miss the playoffs again. They can't do it. And you don't have a proven commodity. Vernon Adams is not a proven commodity. So this is it's
also about selling tickets, though. Does Durant sell the tickets? We'll see. We'll find out.
I think he will.